Closed captioning for the Casey Malone Show is sponsored by Hunter Stevens Land Title Agency. Integrity, service, and commitment you can trust.
Oh yeah, Casey Malone is serving up local. It's time for the stories of our region, the tastes, the sights, the sounds, and the people in and around the valley. Get ready for some local flavor on the Casey Malone Show.
Today, it's fine craft beer made in Youngstown at Noble Creature Brewery. And I prepare my soon-to-be famous sausage risotto. But first, an all-accessible playground in Canfield. Well, phase one is nearing completion here at the Walnut Grove Playground, and Shelley Duchek is the president of the board. Excuse me very much. And this really is an amazing undertaking.
Oh my gosh, it is fantastic. We've had community volunteers, we've had community donations. We would not have this place without the community. It's awesome.
And, you know, I've never even really realized, you know, playgrounds, you see them everywhere, but you don't realize that they're not that accessible for disabled kids.
Yeah.
And what put that into your, why did this all come to be?
Well, the individual who donated the property to us had a desire to help children with disabilities. So a group of community members came over to talk, just get together and see what the community needed. And we don't want to duplicate services, so we wanted something new. And we came up with this idea that we needed an outdoor recreational venue that was conducive to kids of all abilities. So out of that dream, honestly, of the design plan, the playground was the very last thing we came up with.
Yeah.
Our playground was going to be just a couple swings, and now you can see by the time we're done, it's going to be an acre big.
I mean, and then you're just planning on expanding more and more. And what's awesome is this is all through volunteerism and private donations.
All private donations, volunteer time. We've gotten some wonderful services donated to help us. And this project is bigger than just this playground. I mean, we plan for Miracle League fields, so we'll have a baseball, a track. Behind the playground, there's actually accessible walking trails. So there will be nature trails through the wetlands. There's a bridge that connects to the Mill Creek Metro Parks bikeway. So there's all kinds of stuff for people to do when they come out here.
And then are you reaching out to the different organizations that help, you know, the children with disabilities? I mean, are they giving you some really good suggestions?
Yeah, you know, when we were putting the playground design together, we kind of just said, and we talked to parents a lot, what do you need? And one of the things that really came out is that there's no place for a family to go and play in this area. So if you have a child who's in a wheelchair, where's he going to go play with his sister? Because he can't get onto the play equipment going through the mulch and the rock. So this is a place where families can come together and just create memories and have fun, and it's inclusive. So you can play with your friends, you can play with your cousins, and just enjoy. There's no barriers on this playground.
And when will this officially be open and ready to go so people can enjoy it?
We are hoping in the next 4 to 6 weeks that we will have this open to the public. There's a few more things we need to do before we can, liability-wise and stuff, get this open to the community. But as soon as it is, it's going to be open during daylight hours. So, and we ask that people, when they do come out here, remember that it is all volunteers running this park. We don't have anybody on staff, so please throw your trash away. You know, keep the park clean.
And we're still in the fundraising stage, right? We're still accepting funds.
Yeah, we absolutely are. What you're looking at is really just the beginning of what we want to do. We have a dream to make an entire playground that is going to be an acre big. So when you look around here, there's not a swing on this playground. We need to add swings. We have plans for a zip line. We're putting in a sand pit, and we have this huge imagination area where there's a pretend fire truck that anybody can wheel up and just drive the fire truck from the top, the bottom. We have talk tubes so the people at the front of the truck can talk to the back. I mean, we tried to include everything we could possibly think of in this playground, so there is something for everybody.
Amanda is also on the board, and as I look at all this equipment, how do you know to order what has inclusive, play materials?
So when we were looking at each piece that was being put on this playground, we wanted to look at whether it was, it did sensory, it encompassed motor skills, cognitive, and social skills. And I'm looking at this because we actually made a book where each piece of equipment that we have, we thought of these 4 things first and foremost, so that every child, every adult, whether you have a handicap, a disability, you can come out to our property and you can use it. So if you have a son who is in a wheelchair, but you have two typical daughters, where are they going to play? Well, when they come out here, they can play on everything. He can go up on the ramps, he can go down the slides, he can pull himself on stuff. There's actually, if you have autism, we have little spaces all over where you can kind of go in, get that sensory overload out of the way. We have a little cozy dome behind us, and you can hide in there. Get away from the noise, get away from the people. So each piece of equipment that is on our property has a specific purpose.
How much property has been donated? So you're looking at an acre of...
Just playground.
So how much do you have to work with?
20 acres.
20 acres! I'm going to build a house in the back.
Okay.
Wouldn't that be awesome? Yes, but I'll be like the caretaker.
We could use you. You're hired.
No, this really is a wonderful project. It really is. And do you come up with like ideas of, with your board and all your volunteers?
Everything is done through volunteers. We make all decisions through a board. We are a 501c3, so we are run like a true board. Well, we are a true board. Any decisions that are made, they're made in a group. And all the decisions that we do make, they're very well thought out, and we have checks and balances in place because we do have a mission.
The Casey Malone Show will be right back with more local flavor. Summer means Magic Tree. Look at this patio. This is one of my favorite places to be on a summer night.
Casey, we have all the things going on here at the Magic Tree on our beautiful patio. We have the Saturday Summer Music Series, not to mention all the other goodies like our seasonal menu. Absolutely.
Oh,
that's our can of chips, our cedar plank salmon, and this is our Casey and the Sunshine Salad. How you like that? And then our seasonal drinks. That's our mermaid water, and it ain't no water, by the way. And this is our fresh blueberry mule.
Oh, that is beautiful. And I'm telling you, what is your slogan?
Come to the Magic Tree to eat, drink, and celebrate.
And I say repeat. Summertime is here. The living is easy. Get to the Magic Tree.
Cheers.
Cheers. Mayflower Wallum is your full-service independent insurance agency for what matters most. Home, auto, life, boat, RV, umbrella. We'll find the right product at the right price for your family. Mayflower Wallum with 3 locations to serve you.
Here at the Upstairs, we cater to everyone. When you come through the door, I treat you as though you're my friend. So there's all kinds of options here at the Upstairs. There's something on that menu for everyone. Great food, friendly service, very clean restaurant. There's a lot of restaurants, a lot of good restaurants in our community. So I always feel honored when someone comes here. I want everybody coming through that door to leave here with a good experience.
Part of growing up in Youngstown is growing up with Rowley Brothers Markets. Even friends who have moved out of town come to shop and say hi when they're home for a visit.
And my family has always shopped at Rowley's, and today they are still my favorite grocery store. My recipes depend on the best ingredients, and that's why I get them at Rowley's, where you'll always find the freshest food at the best prices.
Rowley Brothers is a proud sponsor of the KC Malone Show. The quality that customers have come to expect is true local flavor.
$5 Burger Mondays at Sadie's Place, inside the Best Western, Route 46, Austintown. Today I'm going to make for you sausage risotto. It doesn't have a lot of ingredients. It's pretty easy to make, but you know risotto. The tedious part is stirring and making sure the liquid is absorbed until you add the next batch of liquid. And I think I have a little shortcut that might speed that along just a little bit. But risotto is so versatile. Do not be intimidated, because I was very intimidated, but my husband gave me this recipe. We tweaked it a little bit, and I really think you're going to enjoy it. Now, I'm going to make it with a hot sausage, and if you don't like the hot spicy, you can also use just a sweet fennel sausage too. But few ingredients, and boy, does this pack a wallop. You are going to love my sausage risotto. For this recipe, you'll need 1 to 1.5 pounds of hot or sweet bulk sausage, 6 cups of chicken stock, 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter, 1.5 cups of arborio rice, 1 large onion diced, 1/2 cup of dry white wine, 1/2 cup of grated Parmesan cheese, the juice from 1 lemon, and 1/2 cup of chopped fresh parsley for garnish. Now, with most of my rice dishes, I usually rinse the rice prior to using because you want to get the starch off of the grain. But with the arborio rice, you want that starch because that is what the thickening agent is that keeps the risotto nice and creamy. But it also takes a lot more time to get that starch up, and that's why you have to add the warm liquid. So to keep the starch, but yet decrease a little bit on the cooking time, I find that if I take the arborio rice, okay, so I put it in a strainer, and then I just run the chicken stock through it. So I'm still keeping the starch, but I've also, I believe, made the rice just a little easier to cook and help absorb the liquid faster. All right, so over medium-high heat in this large skillet, I am breaking up the sausage and getting it nice and browned. Meanwhile, on another burner, I am warming the chicken broth, the stock, and I'll bring that to a low simmer because it does have to be warm when I add it to the rice. So I removed the sausage and put it aside. Now I've got the 2 tablespoons of butter, again over medium heat, and I didn't even bother to rinse out the pan. Wanted to try to use whatever fat was left, but boy, that was pretty lean sausage. So now I will melt down the butter, and I am going to add the large onion that's been chopped up. And I'm just going to cook this and coat this until the onions are softened. It'll be about 5 or 7 minutes. Well, the onion looks great. It is softened, a little browned, and now we are going to add that rice. Remember I rinsed it? Well, now we're going to add that to the onion, and we're going to make sure it's thoroughly coated with the butter and the onion, and we are going to cook this for about 5 minutes. So now we start the tedious part, adding the liquids. This is where we stir and stir and stir and stir. We're going to start with our 1/2 cup of white wine. And we just stir this thoroughly until all of that water, or wine, turning water into wine, has been absorbed. So now, you see we've got our stock warming right here, and I am just going to do this ladle by ladle, okay? So 1 ladle at a time. It must be warmed. And you just continue to stir. Well, I'm going to tell you my little tip about running the stock through the rice. I think it cut off almost 10 minutes of cooking and liquid absorption time. So do try that trick at home. And now look at that. All 6 cups have been absorbed. It's beautiful. It's creamy. I've turned off the heat. Now we will add the cheese. And I will stir this through and mix it in thoroughly. the cheese, and you can see it's melting nicely. I'm using a great Parmesan. I'm now gonna add the sausage back in. Yay! And we'll stir this in and mix that thoroughly. Oh my gosh, this is such a great dish. All right, now Jelaine joins me in the kitchen. After all the stirring and the liquid absorption is over with, here's our final step. Take the juice from a lemon and you just squeeze it over the risotto mixture. All right, it brightens it up. It lightens it up just a little bit, because remember, we've got cheese and sausage and all those things in there. And then you just, may I serve you, Mommy?
Oh, it smells so good.
There
Casey,
you go.
It is,
with a little bit of parsley. And if you want more cheese, you can pass it at the table. But I think this has more than enough. And some for me, some for you. Now the taste test. Let me know what you think. Isn't this amazing?
It is.
I mean, it is. It's a restaurant quality dish. And you know, whenever I think of risotto, I think of that movie Big Night. Oh my gosh, Tony Shalhoub.
Tony Shalhoub.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And Stanley
Tucci. He wrote it. And the primo is the Tony Shalhoub character, the chef. And he's obsessive about his risotto.
That's right.
And of course, in the 50s in Jersey, nobody's appreciating it. It's the, you know.
They wanted the meatballs and pasta.
Yeah, meatballs and spaghetti wars. You could drink a nice red wine with that because of the sausage, but I think the white wine is nice. It cuts through a lot of the seasonings. So, cheers. Na zdrowie. Ooh, it's delicious.
Oh, it is.
It's just, I'm telling you, it's like we're on the Riviera, man.
I love risotto.
Well, I will make this for you again.
Oh.
And again. And again. Go to my website, CaseyMaloneShow.com, get my sausage risotto recipe, and you can thank me later, because you are going to love it. Cheers.
Cheers.
The Casey Malone Show will be right back with more local flavor.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Bernard. I've been giving the people of our valley free advice for 30 years, and my message has never changed. If you're involved in an automobile accident, don't try to handle it yourself. Call a lawyer. A lawyer will be your representative, dealing with doctors, medical insurance, and all the red tape that you may encounter. Hiring a lawyer doesn't mean you'll end up in court. And remember, there are no upfront fees on personal injury cases.
That's good advice. Need a lawyer? Learn more at ElizabethBernardLaw.com.
Mayflower Woolham is your full-service independent insurance agency for your business. We work with several companies, so you have choices for your insurance needs. Commercial properties, professional liability, bonding, and general. Trust Mayflower Woolham.
Join the Island Purple Cat family. Employment opportunities are available. Given is living.
To own a business where your name's on the window can be pretty cool. That's my family. My name is Danny Catullo, and I'm the owner of Catullo Prime Meats. My grandfather started the business in 1962. I was able to take our old style butcher shop and bring it out to the new age using e-commerce to get our products to more customers. When we started shipping, there was not a ton of information out there. That's where we really worked with FedEx so they could be able to help us with our perishable shipping. We were taking on new purchases that we never had to make before. Boxes, coolers, ice packs, anything that was involved around shipping. So we can no longer do this with the cash that we had on hand. So because of the Plum Card from American Express and all of its benefits, it was a natural fit to help grow our business. And when someone calls and lets you know that you made their dinner, that's satisfaction that you can't get anywhere else.
My mom was always in my corner.
Always pushing me to do better.
I couldn't have asked for a better mother.
So when she needed assisted living,
I did my research.
Doctors, nurses,
and others with family and assisted living,
they all said,
Trust the name you know.
Briarfield.
for assisted living with top healthcare experts, a caring staff, and a comfortable home-like setting.
Trust the name you know.
Briarfield.
Trust the name you know. Briarfield. Proudly serving the Valley for over 20 years.
Hi, I'm Bob Kamara. The time has come for me to step back and let my son Rob and daughter Brianna take ownership of Kamara Jewelers. We're celebrating my 41 years in the business with a huge retirement sale where store-wide discounts are up to 70% off. I want every piece sold. Nothing is held back.
Beautiful diamond jewelry, colored gemstones, and more. Largest selection of engagement rings. Up to 70% off Kamara Jewelers' huge retirement sale.
4 for $5 till 6. Happy hour at Sadie's Place inside the Best Western, Route 46, Austin Town. Well, did you know that right now the only craft brewery in the city of Youngstown is Noble Creature, and it's owned by Marcy and Ira, and I absolutely love your establishment.
Thanks.
And it's been over a year now, your growing pains and getting everything up and running.
Mm-hmm.
And are you happy with the progress you've made so far?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's always a work in progress. We got a lot more work to do, but yeah, we've only officially been open for about almost 4 months now, but it was a year before that actually doing all the construction and the build out and everything. But still got a lot to do, but yeah, it's going great so far.
And this is a historic building. You were telling me please rattle off your fun facts.
It was the Butler Memorial Presbyterian Church, and it was built in 1923, and it was the first African-American Presbyterian church between Pittsburgh and Cleveland.
Well, tell me about Noble Creature. Where did the name come from? I think it's a very noble name. I think it really sounds like a beer name.
Yeah.
I like it.
It was kind of a mix. So our logo is a cat skull, and we had a black and white cat when we first moved to Youngstown when I was in college, and her name was Nurgle, and she was a really awesome cat. So it was sort of a little bit of a tribute to Nurgle.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have 2 pit bulls that we adopted, and we would tell them all the time what noble creatures they are. So it's like our pets are always a big part of our lives.
Yeah,
so.
And all your pets are noble?
Noble, yes.
For the most part, yeah.
I mean, really, they can't really be evil,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's a little dog or a cat.
Chelsea,
Where does one go to get these skills to become a brewer?
Well, I got into craft beer. It was the first time I had a craft beer. It was like Ommegang Rare Voss, and I was drinking Old German in college, and it's just like, oh man.
Yeah, what was your aha moment? What kind of beer was it?
Ommegang Rare Voss, and it was Belgian double, kind of like a dark Belgian style ale. I was like, I had no idea if that's what beer could taste like. So,
okay.
I kind of get interested in that at that point, and then started home brewing. And then one of my teachers at Edinburgh, went to school, was a home brewer too, so he kind of like showed me the ropes and gave me a bunch of literature. And then it basically was just reading a lot and just kind of testing out recipes and just learning as I went.
So you always made this, so then you started making it at home?
Yeah, I started home brewing, and then I worked at a brewery in PA for 4 years, and learned a lot there for sure. And then basically we were looking for a place in Youngstown. So we moved here like 8 years ago after college, and then bought our house about 5 years ago. So we've been looking for a place for a while.
I think your beers are very good. And I don't think, I've been to a lot of, the different breweries nearby, and maybe 1 or 2 sour offerings.
Mm-hmm.
But you have always at least 3, 4, 5. You obviously, I love the sours.
All right, good.
And where did that trend come from? Like, where does the sour trend? Because that's basically been only in the last 3, 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an old style beer, especially like lambic producers.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been around for a long time, but I think there's a lot of American breweries that are, kind of bringing the style back.
What country would that come from, the lambic? Is that German?
That's Belgian. So yeah, Belgian lambic brewers, and they would, that's been around for a really long time. And I think there's kind of like a renaissance in the States now, where breweries are actually learning, all the different microbes that go into making those beers and learning how to work with them back, 10, 15 years ago. There wasn't a whole lot of information about that, but there's a lot of
So
people
the
leading the
fruit
way.
and that is required. Is that really what helps with the sour? How do
No,
you,
it's not,
you know?
Yeah, fruit's not necessarily required in like a sour beer, especially or like a lambic beer, but it definitely accents some of the acidity from the beer and kind of like the funkiness depending on what you're doing.
Well, and then now the kitchen will be opening very soon, and you will be the chef extraordinaire behind the scenes. And that'll really add, though, don't you think?
Yeah.
For your customers.
Yeah, definitely. And then also once the kitchen's open, our hours will expand too. So we'll be open earlier and then more days.
And what will your offerings be out of the kitchen?
We're gonna do a lot of spent grain breads and homemade bagels. So we'll have some sandwiches, appetizers. I want to do some meat and cheese pairings that go with each side of the board. So we'll have some pairings for clean beers and some pairings for the sour, funky beers. So
is this what you thought it would be? I mean, owning this business, how has it been? I mean, that had to be so scary when you first really undertook it.
I honestly had no idea.
Yeah.
It's definitely a lot of paperwork and a lot of just doing stuff on the business side of things. And honestly, feel like I'm kind of slacking on at the moment because I'm trying to get everything else up and running and keep trying to get to just making beer and kegging beer and
I think we didn't think that the construction part would ever actually end.
Yeah.
So then when we finally opened, it was like we didn't have any idea what it would be like.
Oh, wow, we're open. So.
You were, over a year. You've been putting this together.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's great. I really do. I think you did a beautiful job. The Casey Malone Show is sponsored in part by Denise and John York and the DeBartolo Corporation.